I kept hearing Mom's voice saying, "It's just for a night, 2 nights at the most." When I woke up the next morning, the Howies were already in the kitchen making themselves right at home. Eudora at the stove scrambling eggs, Howie tending to toaster. Minnie was seated on the counter next to the sink breaking eggshells and sticking them to his nose and forehead. This kid is as weird as Fudge, I thought. The natural beauties were at the table gobbling Dad's cereal. Fudge sat at his usual place counting out his Cheerios. Mom stood by, dressed in her whites, ready to go to work. She didn't look happy. I happen to know Mom doesn't like other people taking over her kitchen. She's okay with Grandma cooking here, but that's her limit. Our kitchen isn't exactly roomy. We have a small table shoved up against the wall. You can reach the stove right from the table, which is sometimes convenient, but we eat most of our meals in the dining alcove. I poured myself a glass of orange juice and took the last chair at the table. "Good morning, Peter," Eudora said. "We've been talking about you." Me? What are they saying about me? "We were just saying that maybe you could take Flora and Fauna to school with you today." What? I can't have heard right. I must have water in my ears from my shower. "They'd like to see you in New York City school," Eudora continued. This required quick thinking. "My school doesn't allow visitors," I said, hoping Mom would help me out on this one. "That's right," Mom told Eudora. "They won't allow anyone in who isn't previously registered. Schools have very strict policies in New York. And tight security," I threw that in just to make sure they got it. "Besides," I said to the natural beauties who were filling their bowls with a second helping of Dad's cereal, "I thought you're homeschooled." "We are," Flora began, "but that doesn't mean—" "We don't visit schools," Fauna said. "Besides, we've been studying foreign cultures," Flora said. "This is New York," I told them. "It's not a foreign culture." "It is to us," Fauna hiccuped. "Sorry, it's the orange juice." "Yeah, she's used to fresh squeezed," Flora said. Mom rolled her eyes and pulled herself a second cup of coffee. I was trying to figure out if there's a pattern to the way the natural beauties speak. Does Flora start every time or only sometimes? Is Fauna the one who always finishes? So far, I haven't been able to come up with anything clear. And trying to figure out who was saying what was making me tired, even though my day had hardly begun. Cousin Howie set plates of eggs and toast in front of each of the natural beauties. That's when he noticed Dad's cereal box and Flora and Fauna's empty bowls. "What have you girls been eating?" he asked, grabbing the box from the table. It was one of those cereals that promises to keep adults young and fit and regular. Cousin Howie began to read aloud from the list of ingredients on the side of the box. "Artificial sweeteners, artificial flavors," he looked at the girls. "Repeat after me. I know better than to poison my body with unnatural ingredients." They repeated it. "One more time," Cousin Howie said. "We know better than to poison our bodies with unnatural ingredients." "That's better," he told them. "Now eat your eggs." "But Daddy," Flora began. "We're not hungry anymore," Fauna said. "Not hungry?" Cousin Howie asked. "Not hungry?" "That's what they said," Fudge told Cousin Howie. "Didn't you hear them?" Cousin Howie's face turned red, then purple. "Fudgy, let's remember our manners," Mom said. "I am remembering my manners. If Cousin Howie can't hear, I'll help him, just like I helped Mrs. Osterman." "I can hear just fine," Howie shouted. Eudora said, "Let it go, Howie. The girls will have a healthy breakfast tomorrow. Why don't you eat their eggs and toast instead?" "You can sit here." I jumped up to give him my place at the table. "Thank you," Cousin Howie said. Turtle, who'd been under the table, looked up at Cousin Howie and whimpered, letting him know he'd be happy to share the eggs. That's when Dad came into the kitchen carrying Tootsie. He set her in her baby seat. "O's," she said, pointing to Fudge's cereal box. Dad sprinkled Cheerios on her tray. Flora said, "Oh, she's so cute," Fauna hiccuped loudly, making Tootsie laugh. "Her name is Tamara Roxanne," Fudge announced, "and I'm not telling you what we call her." "I bet I can guess," Fauna said. "Tammy?" "Wrong," Fudge sang. "Roxy?" Flora guessed. "Wrong again." "Mara?" Fawn tried. "Nope," Fudge laughed. I was thinking they were all better names than Tootsie, but I didn't say so. "Here's a hint," Fudge said. "It's the name of a candy." "Oh, we don't eat candy," Flora said. "Not even on Halloween?" Fudge asked. "Not even then," Fauna said. "That's why our teeth are perfect." Flora opened her mouth really wide so we could admire her teeth. "We've never had a cavity." "But you eat ice cream," Fudge said. "I saw you." "And hot fudge," I added, thinking we caught them. "Daddy says ice cream is one of life's necessities," Flora said. "And hot fudge is a family tradition," Fauna said. "Daddy's very big on family traditions," Flora said. "Big," Tootsie said, spreading her arms. "So what do you call this precious girl?" Fauna asked. "We call her Tootsie," Fudge announced. "Tootsie!" indeed, Tootsie said. What an adorable, Fauna began. Name, Flora said. If we have a baby sister, maybe we can call her Tootsie, Fauna said. Suppose you have a baby brother, Fudge asked. Another brother, Flora said. We all looked over at Minnie, just as he grabbed the sponge from the kitchen sink and stuffed it in his mouth. Barley, Mom said, pulling it out. That's soapy. Minnie looked right at Mom and growled.